This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night's Live Training with Faith and Soul. Team Faith and Soul, I'm so excited to have you guys here. Tonight's topic is going to be a little bit different than what we've kind of covered over the last month, at least the last 2 months. But tonight is pretty simple topic, but is a very important one because we can not only use it in our business but in our personal life as well. So this one, the topic tonight basically is motivating yourself, how to get motivated, and like I said before, in your business and our personal lives. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and just dive in. Tonight is actually kind of a rarity because I set my alarm because I do not have notes. And the reason why I don't have any topics like touch points or notes or anything like that is because I feel like this is kind of a subject that I don't want notes on, because that way I can kind of more or less speak from the heart, be a little bit more authentic with you guys. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So as far as getting motivated, I will say first and foremost, coming from a business standpoint, when I first started out with my Scentsy business, especially because it's been about almost 3 years now, which is pretty crazy, but almost 3 years now since I've been with Scentsy. When I first joined, I was working pretty much 50 plus hours a week. I was a assistant manager, but I was running, not only I had my job, but then I was also running a store on top of that because we did not have a manager at the time. So I was doing twice as much work, not as much pay, and I decided to join Scentsy. So my motivation at that time, at least for that season of my life, while maintaining that crazy job, motivation for me was really just getting a little piece of joy and enjoying just being able to unplug from the rest of the world and to enjoy the time that I had, just to see what Scentsy was all about, because I had no clue what Scentsy was. Motivation for me now, honestly, it depends. It varies day to day. There are a couple of tips and tricks, not really tricks, I guess I'll just say tips that I would suggest. And it's going to be different for everybody. But a couple of things that really I could say that you can use again, like in your personal life and then your work life as well. Things that I personally like. I love listening to music, so music is a big thing for me. I have playlists, so I'm really big right now. I listen to a lot of music on Spotify. So Spotify, I think I used to have Pandora, and I think you could do the same with Pandora, but I have Spotify now, and I create individual playlists. So what I mean by that is that if you have Spotify and you do not know this, you can actually click on, I think it's like the top right hand corner, and then if you hear a song you like it, then you can either add it to a current playlist or create your own. So I do have different playlists just depending upon what my mood is, what I'm doing at the time. I have one that has more like perkier dance type upbeat music. I have one that's more chill. So if I'm wanting to wind down for the day. But motivation for me, first and foremost, when I start my day off in the morning, music is a big factor for that. So a lot of times I'm always in my head, like everybody else. I feel like in Cincy land, we have scroll brain, and so for me, so I can slow down my thoughts. A lot of times I do like listening to music, so that's one of the things I would say for sure, to help me get motivated for the day, help me get motivated for work. Um, Alarms are really good too for motivation. And I tend to set a lot of alarms. So I have alarms to remind me to do things if I'm having to do something for Scentsy work purposes, or if I need to be somewhere. I really try to be more aware of my time, because time is valuable, right? So every day that we have is valuable. My time is valuable. And so I like to set those alarms just to hold me accountable, and because I can very much so get scroll brained every single time. And then once my alarm goes off, I immediately stop what I'm working on and I move on to the next thing. So that's the next, I would say number two. Let's go with number two. As far as motivating, is setting alarms. I am really big, for those of y'all that know me on Team Faith and Soul, I'm really huge on positive quotes, affirmations, positive quotes at the wazoo. Like whether it comes to books, Lately, I do not have the patience, honestly, to read books. I'm kind of all over the place. I do have two books that I am reading, I'll say that much. But lately, I'm not really one to sit down and take the time to read unless I'm traveling. So if I'm on the plane and things like that or in the car. But there are other ways that I have motivation around me. So I like to print out quotes. I have them all around my office. I have them in front of me right now. That's really one thing that helps me stay motivated. If I have anybody who sends me, whether it's a team member or a fellow Cincy sister, Mister, um, special occasions, any type of occasion, basically that I get a card from somebody, I really like to open it up and then I'll put a pin on it, and then to my right hand side in my office, I actually have a lot of those pinned on the board for motivation as well. Let's see, what's another thing? Oh, so one thing I for sure will say as far as motivation is concerned is it doesn't come easy to any of us. Okay. So motivation is not going to be easy first and foremost, but it is due diligence and it takes practice. So I, for example, I'm going to read, looks like somebody may else have, I think somebody else commented too, but I have two people that were nice enough to share on the directors group. I did post a little earlier this evening, and I just asked them to let me know what motivates them. So there were two people who actually shared on here, and it was pretty cool because both of them that commented pretty much said and summed up a lot of the things that I was planning on saying. So, one particular consultant shared one thing that gets her motivated for her business is watching trainings. She said, cleaning my office and even just going to sit at my desk. So, as you guys can see here, kind of sort of, I'm at my desk. So that is actually on my to-do list is clean and tidy up my office between now and I gave myself, let's see, today's Monday, so I gave myself till Wednesday. So I'm not going to just push through it through like 1 day period. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. But cleaning up your workspace, whether that is at your kitchen table, whether that is in your bedroom, whether that's in your family room, whatever your office space may look like, it's going to be different for everyone. But whatever that looks like, make sure that you are being intentional again with your time, and then just cleaning up your area around you, so that can help with motivating as being motivated as well. I know that that truly helped me over the last year or two, is just making sure that I have a nice little workspace and just something that brings me joy. So for example, I love arts and crafts. So right in front of me, you can't see it, but right in front of me, I have markers. I like candy. So my customers like candy too. So I have that to the left of me. For those of y'all that are on my team, you can clearly tell by my shirt. I love colorful things. I'm a very aesthetic, pleasing kind of person. So I like stuff that I can touch and feel and see. So if I look around me in my office, I have tons of like unicorn things that are colorful. I have motivational, a motivational sign in front of me that says do what you love. So things like that bring me joy and is also going to help motivate me to do my best every day. Another thing for me as well that I will say as far as motivation is just picking one thing. Pick one thing, and in your business, pick that one thing that's going to bring you joy. What brings you joy? What is something that you are wanting to try? For example, every single catalog season, I pick one thing that I haven't done before and I dabble in it. I wouldn't say I master it because there are some things that I've learned that just are not for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try, because for those y'all that are on with Team Faith and Soul, you know that I always say try everything once, but not everything's going to be for everybody, right? Sometimes it's not our cup of tea, but I like to try everything once. So I always challenge myself once every catalog season to try something new. For example, this last spring, I decided to invest more into Canva. So I absolutely love Canva now. I order so much through Canva. Honestly, I don't even know what I would do without Canva. And I've come a long way because I like looking back on how I started at the beginning and where I'm now. Now, I wouldn't say that I am just as hands down like genius when it comes to Canva, but I will say that I have come a long way. So there's that. The next thing for me that I will be venturing into this season for fall winter of 2022 is Project Broadcast. And I'm super excited about that. That's another training that we're going to do for another day in the next couple months. Or I'm sorry, not couple months. Sorry about that. Next couple weeks. So Project Broadcast, that's for me on my list as far as things that I want to learn. So that's also going to help me and motivate me in my business, is learning something new. Now, I will say this one important thing to ask yourself is, what is something that you currently do in your life, whether it's Scentsy or not, it could be non-Scentsy, non-business, that you continuously do. What's something that you do every day? What's something that brings you joy? What is something that brings fulfillment to you? So for me, for example, I love sitting in the sauna. I love the like cold weather outside, but I'm a sucker for heat, hot rocks, sauna, hot yoga, you name it. The more sweat for me, the better. Although ironically, I don't like the humidity outside. That's a whole nother thing. But that's something that helps me relax, something that brings me joy. So for me, I have learned that if I show up continuously every other day, every day, and I sit in the sauna, it not only brings me joy, but it helps me motivate to get other things done throughout the day, because it's helping me relax. It's helping me clear my mind. So basically, things like that. Think about that one thing, whether it could be going to church. Going to church motivates us, right? It helps fill our cups up. It helps give us more positivity and light in our lives. Meeting up with friends, that kind of thing. It's the same thing, you guys, that you can apply to your business, right? So doing something repetitively, just taking that first step forward, trying that one thing, can definitely help when it comes to motivation. And then it almost is like a domino effect. Y'all know I use that term a lot. And then it just trickles from there. So the same consultant said that the way her thinking is similar to Mel Robbins. If you don't know who Mel Robbins is, I definitely recommend going to YouTube and looking her up. She's got some really cool motivational videos. But she said, just like Mel Robbins says, just make your goal to get to the gym, for example. So make it a goal to get or to do that one thing. Don't focus as much on the end result. Don't focus on, well, I want to try this, but I'm not going to be good at it, right? Don't say it like that. Just physically get yourself into where that is that you want to do. So for example, she said, for this consultant said it was for her for getting healthier, losing weight, all the things, mindset, right? So for her, she said it was just the physical act of just getting to the gym. And she said, once I'm there, my body and my mind just keep going with the flow. So everything just naturally kicks in after that. So for motivation, for example, another thing that I will say is I have calendars to my left-hand side. I'm very much a pen and paper person. I do have some things that I use on my phone as far as apps, things of that matter that help me stay organized. But for the most part, I'm a pen and paper gal, old school. And I have calendars to my left-hand side. I have calendars to help me basically with my sanity. So a big part of our business is through social media, but not just social media by itself. So it is us sharing what we love. It's us incorporating Scentsy into our everyday lives, right? So sharing with a purpose. And so for me personally, because social media does play a big part in my business with Scentsy, I like to have an idea I would say about every 2 to 3 days of what I'm posting through social media. Now, you don't have to be like me. I'm very extra. For those y'all that are on my team, y'all know that I am very extra. And so a lot of times I'm very detail oriented, and I'll have it planned out almost every month, if not, or every day, if not every other day, to give me an idea of what I'm posting on social media. But that is just something that helps motivate me. And not to say that that's something you have to do, but that is one less thing I have to think about. So that in my mind helps me get motivated to just keep going, because it's one less thing that I have to focus on. So it's basically like me telling myself what to do. I've already planned it out last month. So then, for example, I'll come into my office tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 12th. I'll look at my calendar and I'm like, okay, what is it that I'm posting today? Now, a lot of times I switch that up, but it does help me mentally to have something on pen and paper that's tangent. So for those of you guys, for example, that are on Team Faith and Soul, if you find that you are lacking in motivation when it comes to, for example, social media posting, okay, if you feel like you're lacking in that area, maybe it's somewhere like in stories that you're wanting to focus in more, or you're wanting to be more intentional on your personal page. Um, for those y'all that are not in it, we do have a messenger group that you can definitely utilize. Something that I personally like to do is not I will say that I enjoy working smarter or harder, but I do not like to recreate the wheel. That is a waste of my time. There are so many consultants that are out here, you guys, and all these groups that we're in on Facebook. It's crazy on YouTube that share what they're good at. They share what they're passionate about, they share what their talents are. And the cool thing about that is that we can take the format of what they're using, what they're telling us to do. For example, there are two, let me pull it up right now. There are two groups that are currently running on Facebook that you can join if you're not already a part of. The first one is Refresh. I want to make sure I say it right. Refresh, Refocus, Reimagine. That's the first one. And then the other one is, give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure and say, I don't want to say the wrong word. Boss Up or Bust. Those are the two current Scentsy Facebook groups that are going on. So for example, you're wondering why I brought that up. So the reason why is because these two groups, if you're not already a part of them, they are physically telling us, you guys, and sharing with us how to be better in our business, whether it's mindset, being more intentional, focusing on parties, focusing on events, things of that matter. They're walking us through how to do these things. And a lot of times, a lot of these groups are showing us even examples of posting. Like I will tell you first and foremost on my calendar that I was talking about, I have one calendar that is for everything else, and the other one is for social media purposes. So there are two groups in the past 2 years that I've been a part of that walked us through everyday examples of what to share, what to post. A lot of these things that I'm doing, again, I didn't come out and create myself. These are posts that I've done last year, a couple months ago, and I do the same thing every single week. Like for example, Mondays for me are motivational positive posts in my stories. For example, repetition. I'm doing the same thing every week. If you follow me on social media, if you follow me specifically in my stories, if you were to watch me like through a Monday through Friday format, I have the same subjects, same stuff that I'm very similar that I'm posting pretty much every day. And then the content changes, but the subject basically stayed the same. So for example, Tuesdays, I'm sharing something that's like a tip or trick, Scentsy or not. Mondays, like I said, are motivational for me. Typically now starting this month, I've actually been sharing either like Tuesday to Wednesday club stuff, things like that. So on my calendar, if I'm looking at it right now, it's like I said, the format is so similar, so the same like every single week. But like I said, the content just changes, but the subjects stay the same. So it just makes it easier for me. And I will say also a little thing that I can be fully transparent with you guys is that if you didn't already know, I struggle with depression. I've struggled with depression pretty much since I was probably like 11, 12. Who knows, maybe sooner than that. But as far as I can recollect, at least around that age. But for me, over time, as I've gotten older, not only through therapy, but also just self-awareness, I know the tools and tips, tricks, all that kind of thing to get me out of that mindset, because it starts with me checking in with myself at the beginning of the day. That's where my motivation starts. And here's the thing, you guys, is I'm not feeling motivated every day. I don't want you guys to think that. I don't want you to think that I'm jumping out of bed, perky, rainbows and unicorns every single day. Because I'm not. But here's the thing is that I approach every single day with grace, and I approach every single day one day at a time. I used to be a big planner. I used to have plans of what I'm doing a year from now, a few weeks from now, a month from now. And it was so exhausting. But over the last 5 or 6 years ish, give or take, I realized for myself personally that that's way too much. And it's just so overwhelming. And so now I just take it case by case, day by day, and hell, sometimes like hour by hour. And I just reevaluate every single day. But at the end of the day, I want to focus on what brings me joy. One thing that did actually help me a lot, and I'll pull it up here. You're not going to be able to read it, but almost all smartphones have a place on here. Pretty much everybody has a place on their phone. That's what I want to say. That you can create like a note or a list. Most of the time, I'm a pen and paper person, but this has actually really helped me while I'm on the go. So I actually titled it. It says "What I Love." So as you can see here, it is a pretty lengthy list. I think I've been working on this since, where's the date? About 2 months ago. Yeah. So about 2 months ago, I started it. And right now I'm at number 17. So I don't have a goal in mind. There's not a set number on this, but anytime I come across something, someone, whatever the case may be that brings me joy, I'm writing it down because on the days or the weeks that I have where I'm struggling in my depression or I'm in my personal life, I'm not having a great time, a great season. If I'm just having a rough day, if something makes me really upset, or whatever the case may be, I'm in a funk. That is one of the things that I like to pull up is that list, and it reminds me of the things that do bring me joy, of the things that make me happy. And if I want to go an extra step, I can even easily pull something off that list and go do it. Right. And that's one of the things I will say that has helped me in my business and my personal life stay motivated and just keep pushing forward. Now, another thing I do encourage you to do is reach out to people that you trust. They always say, what is it? Like attract your tribe. So you don't want necessarily people in your circle, in your life that are toxic, that are bringing negative energy to you. Okay. It's okay to bless and release those people, but you want to keep people close to you, even if it's just one person. It doesn't have to be in person with them, it can be through social media. But contact them and reach out to them because we all need our cups to be filled just like we want to be able to help others fill their cups up as well, right? So that's also where that motivation can come in. So let's see, I'm going to go back. Sorry, y'all give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the next thing that was shared on my post. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay, so the next person shared, the next consultant said that one way that she stays motivated is, again, having an organized space and a written list of what needs to be done. Cincy Slay every day. I freaking love that. So one thing that I personally do have, because you guys heard me earlier, and I like a list. I like to be on a schedule. So one of my friends in Cincy Land, bless me with this, says goal getter. So I, at the start of every week, I will brain dump things that I need to get done. And I mean, I probably offhand have about 7 things on here. Excuse me. And this was actually from last week, so that's okay. Like, that's all right. And I got 3 things done. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm patting myself on the back. But everything else, it's there. I see it every day when I come into my office. So these are things that I don't want to forget about that need to get done. Another thing that helps me too, going back to like that repetition and planning, is maybe the things that that you believe bring you joy, things that are important in your business, schedule them out and just get them out of the way, especially because you don't want it hanging over your head, daunting you through the entire month. So basically what I mean by that is, for example, my Happy Mail and my team mail get done by the end of the second week of every month, every single time. It does not matter what day you do it. And if you don't want to do it at the beginning of the month, do it at the beginning of the month. But I personally like to do it at the beginning so that way it's done, out of the way. Plus, I know, not everybody, but I know that there are certain people that have told me, like my customers have said, oh my gosh, I had a tough week last month. Your Happy Meal really made my day. So those are things obviously that motivate the heck out of me to be like, you know what? I may not have felt like doing this, but I know it's going to bring someone else joy. Now, let's just say that you have an insane month. If you have an insane week and you're like, oh my God, it is the last week of the month. I still need to send out Happy Mail and I haven't yet. And all the things are piling up and I don't have time for this and I don't have time for that. Here's the thing, no one's going to care what your Happy Mail or your team mail looks like. Okay. And if they do, bless and release them. But here's the thing, it's you and your business, right? It's you and what brings you joy. I don't do the same things every month. So let's just say you're having an insane season and a crazy month. You still want to obviously recognize those that are supporting your business and your customers, but you don't have to mail anything out. We have access to their phone numbers. We have access to their social media accounts. Send a voice text to them, text them, send a cute little, y'all know I'm big on Bitmojis and emojis. Send them a GIF, send them an emoji. Say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your support last month. I hope you're enjoying your order. Let me know if you need anything. Have a great day. The end in a story. You can easily copy and paste that, work smarter, not harder, copy and paste that and send that out to the masses of people. And then you're done. You're done. Make it super easy, you guys. Let's see. So the next person that commented, let's see. What did she say? I want to make sure and say this right. Okay, so she said, oh, I like her transparency, so this is awesome. So this particular consultant said, so this is gonna sound like, she said, basically, no one's gonna like the way that this sounds, but motivation is not always there. And I agree with her on that one. Because as much as I'd like to say earlier, like I said, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm motivated every single day, because I'm not. Because sometimes I'm at an all-time high, and sometimes I'm at an all-time low. But the thing is that doing what I can with the time that I have and making the most of it. That's what's more important for what we do in our lives. But I like that she said determination is what's going to rock your business socks off. That's really cute. Being determined that you're going to get the ish done, right? Being determined that you are going to check off that to-do list. Being determined that you're going to just wake up every day and put some clothes on, wash your face, and just see what the rest of the day takes you. I used to be so guilty, you guys. I used to be so bad about cramming so much into my day. Like, I, for real, would stay up to like the wee hours of the day, wee hours of the morning. My husband, if y'all didn't already know this, my husband worked shift work for so long. I'm not even kidding, synced my schedule to his. So, for example, he's on nights right now. So I, in the last year or two, would honestly be up until he comes home from work. So right now, I would be up in my office doing all the Cincy things. I would be working pretty much. So he leaves about 4:30, 4 o'clock p.m. I would start my job then in my office, and I would work all the way until the next day at 6 a.m. And that's when he would come home, and then I would go to sleep, and then we'd start it all over again. And I found that that was not working for me. Okay. So, so what I learned was that there are certain things that take top priority, and there are other things that are not motivating me, make me feel like crap, and I ain't gonna do it. And that's the one thing that I had to honestly give myself permission to be okay with. Be okay with the fact that the laundry ain't always going to get itself done. Okay? Laundry is laundry. Now, obviously, it's one thing if you got kids and you need to get them clothed. That's one thing. But just do what you can with the time that is allowed. Okay? Don't overwork yourself. Don't feel like a lot of times, I'll give you an example. About a couple weeks ago or so, you guys know that we got back from Salt Lake City. And the way I used to be was that I would come home and I would be like, you know what? I need to immediately unpack my suitcase. I need to put all the things away and I need to get this and this and this is done because time is of the essence. I mean, we were gone like a solid week at least. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I've got all these things I need to catch up on. But here's the thing, that's the way I used to be with my suitcase. Now, what I ended up doing was I did take out the dirty clothes, but all the rest of it, I was like, you know what? I have other things that take priority right now this week. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I think maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, I finally unpacked that suitcase. But I don't care because it's not like somebody set a rule up to where they were like, knock, knock, knock. You got to get that suitcase unpacked. No, nobody cared. Nobody cared but me. So it didn't take top priority. Other things did. So give yourself grace with the time that you're allowed. Do what you can do in the day. What's going to get you motivated, get you out of that funk, and then do the best you can because sometimes just doing that one thing is going to make the big difference in your entire week. But don't feel don't get defeated for one when you are not meeting the expectations that you have for yourself. So stop comparing yourself to others for sure. Stop doing that. And I would say the second thing for motivation is just be try to I don't want to say try. How do I want to say this? Um be present. Be present in the season that you're in. It could be that Scentsy is just not on the forefront of your business right or I'm sorry, not on the forefront of your mind right now, and that's okay. That's all right. Now don't drop your kit. I'm not saying don't do that. Don't drop your kit, but give yourself enough time to process things and heal because we need to first and foremost take care of ourselves before we can take care of anybody else, before we can be present in our business, be present in our personal like lives with our spouses, with our kids, with our friends. We have to take care of ourselves because if we're not motivated enough to take care of ourselves, ain't none of the rest of that stuff is going to follow. Because here's the thing, you do not want to be running on empty fumes trying to take care of everybody else when you haven't even taken care of yourself first. Okay. It is okay to be, if we're going to say selfish, I don't really like to look at it that way, but if you want to be selfish because you deserve it. You deserve to put yourself first. I like that that. She said, I highly recommend looking into many habits. I really like the way that she put that. So many habits, not the bigger picture. Again, right? Just picking that one thing and start off with a small to-do list. I like that. So kind of sort of like what I said earlier. Like I started at the beginning of usually it's every week, but last week I brain dumped a bunch of things that I want to get done between now pretty much the end of the month. And whenever in my office, I will look at it and I'll be like, okay, what's one thing that I can knock off this list, right? She said a lot of the times consultants stop working because they have systems that aren't working for them. Amen, sister. I love that she said that. And it's so true because kind of like how I said earlier, how I had that calendar and I like to plan out my social stuff. If you heard me say that and you're like, no, no, thank you, Megan. That's a lot of work. I'm good. Then you don't have to do that. Do what works for you. Systems, there's so many different systems out there, by the way, that you want to find out what works for you. Okay. And what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. But that's okay because that's the beauty of this business. We have freedom in the business. She said, that also another thing is that we all sometimes get caught up in trying to do all the things. Remember I said that earlier? And that is so true too. Because as consultants, I don't know about you guys, but I am on a couple of group pages with Scentsy. And I had to recently, over the last year or two, get out of a lot of them because of the amount of crap that is getting posted time and time again to these group pages. And it's not feeding my soul, it's depleting me. It's making me feel like I'm not busy enough. It's making me feel like I am not good enough in a lot of areas. And I, again, have squirrel brain. So even though I have this list of stuff that I need to focus on, if I get on social media and I start seeing the crap that they're posting, then I'm like, oh, I want to try this out. Oh, I want to do this. And then before I know it, I'm all over the place and I haven't gotten shit done for the entire day. And I had to, like I said, get out of some of those groups because it was a lot. Now, one thing that's really nice too is that you can now filter the content for each of these group pages that you're on, just so you don't have to be overwhelmed by all the things. That also goes and leads me into what I said earlier at the top of this training was that at the very beginning I said project broadcast is something I'm dabbling in into this new season for the rest of the year. And I'm so excited about it because for those of y'all that are watching the replay, and you're on Team Faith and Soul, I know some of you guys are not always on social media. So that's the beauty of Project Broadcast, is that I will be incorporating it into our team. So then that way you guys are going to be, you can actually opt in to text messages from me and letting you know basically the highlights in our business and to be in the know. And I freaking love that idea. So then that way you don't always have to feel like you have to plug in and get on Facebook and all the things to know what's going on in our team and then going on with like the Scentsy world. So I absolutely love that because I try to unplug from social media as often as I can. Um, let's see, what else does she say on here? Um, uh, let's see. Thanks for lazy, get along. Yeah, so she said, and it's so true, is experiencing burnout because everyone at one time or another in their Scentsy business is going to experience burnout. And it's so true. She says, I have gone through this more times than I'd like to admit. And that's the thing, is that you don't ever want to sit your kit down. And what we mean by that, if you've never heard that term before, sitting your kit down basically means that you feel defeated, that you're depleted, that you are burnout, you are done, and you're like, you know what? Scentsy's not for me. I don't want this anymore. We don't want you to set your kit down. Okay. Don't set it down. But what is important for us mentally, is just to take a step back and maybe not do as much. Cut back on some of the things that we're doing. Again, going back to being more mindful of our time. What brings us joy, right? Don't do the doesn't bring you joy, like don't do it anymore. Um, she said, I used to blame the way I was on motivation, but honestly, I was just being plain lazy. So I like that she was very honest about that as well. Um, let's see what else. Oh, so that yeah, so the last part that she said was something that I personally recommend is either listening to podcasts. So podcasts are really good. I'm more of a visual person, so I do like to go to YouTube and I like to look at inspirational videos on YouTube. So if that's something that may interest you, reach out to me and I will definitely share some of the YouTube training. I wouldn't say trainings, I'll just say YouTube motivational videos that I've really enjoyed because there's not as much training on them, but they're like feel good type real quick videos. That's something I for sure would say. And I feel like last but not least is just again, I would say, because we were getting ready to go to a new catalog season, pick that one thing. Pick that one thing that you are wanting to try, put a pin in it, and work on it over the next couple months. Right. And I feel like I don't know, that's pretty much about it. I think that's honestly all I have to say about motivation. Hopefully, there's some things that you guys were able to take away, especially if you're watching the replay from this, and just focusing again on just what brings you joy. And at the end of the day, no one is going to be there to hold your hand. I'm sorry, but no one's going to be there to hold your hand and make you do the things. So, like I said, just start with one thing, start small, and then just go from there. And the thing is that when we pick that one thing that we want to work on or try to do, and it could be something like reaching out to customers, customer follow up, it could be focusing on a VIP group, it could be happy mail, things like that that you're not repetitively doing. You're not doing every single month. So it could be a lot of those things. One of those things that I just mentioned that you're not doing in your business. Pick one, and make sure that you are being due diligent and doing it every single month. And I would say that if it helps, repetitively do it the same time frame every single month, and then give yourself enough grace to adjust according to what your month looks like. Because obviously we can't, for the most part, foresee what's going to happen in August in our personal lives, right? So at least like for me, like I said, the first 2 weeks of every month, T-mail, happy mail, right? If I have a crazy first 2 weeks, it's all good. I'm going to readjust. I'm going to pivot. Y'all know, like, that's my favorite word. And I'm going to pivot, and then I'm just going to do what I got to do for the rest of the month. So that's pretty much about it. I hope you guys have an incredible night. If you are watching the replay, thanks for joining us. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.